Welcome, welcome. Right now, we're having an impromptu late night jam session, uh, having a conversation about the topic: what are these so called terrible things that I've said about Black men? I am opening the floor for people to be able to post below what they feel. I want you to copy and paste if you have a link to a video, right? I'd love for you to my video. If you have a link to my video and I want you to give the timestamp of these so-called alleged quote unquote terrible things that I've said about Black men. It's really early in the morning right now. I just decided when I say it's early, it's really early. It's 4 something in the morning. When I'm in creative process, and you all know that I'm working on the card game. Remember I said that there's going to be a card game that's coming called Are You the One for Me? And it's going to be compiled of different questions to ask your significant other to kind of weed out whether or not they're the ones for you. So when I'm in this creative mode, I wake in the middle of the night spontaneously and I'm inspired to create this. So I have to kind of break up my day into two different parts. And at this time of the day, I'm reading books and and just doing what it is that I need to do to keep my mind sharp and keep myself balanced, etc. Nonetheless, I see that people are starting to comment in. So come on in. I'm going to get the link out to people on the text notification squad because I was just kind of engaging in some chit chat while the link populated on YouTube. And then we're going to get live on these other platforms. Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday. It's 4 something in the morning Eastern Standard Time. 1 something in the morning Pacific time. And in England, we are about 9 in the morning, maybe. And England, Nigeria, about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Australia, I don't know what time it is there. South Africa, I don't know what time it is there either. If there's anybody, actually, while I'm getting this link out, why don't you all let me know where you all are coming in from? Oh no, somebody laid their granny to rest. May her soul rest in peace. If she was your grandmother and she lived a long life, I know she's seen a lot of things. She probably needs her rest right now. I know when my grandmother died, I was like, rest on, Granny. Rest on. I was like, you made it out of this world, my dear. You made it out. All right, so let me get this. Let me get this out here. Okay. So let me. All right. All right. So I've just sent the text notification out. Lena says her melatonin hasn't kicked in. I read this post on Facebook where oh no, it was a TikTok where some child, they were like, my mom is most beautiful when, and they said that man come over and she give us melatonin. Poor baby couldn't even spell it right. But nonetheless, all right. So we were just waiting for that text to go out, and then we're going to get live on these other platforms, and then we're going to have a conversation about about these quote unquote terrible things. I am going to make this a really short video because I want to get this up so that people can watch it, and the people who have all of these major issues with me. Oh my goodness, you know what? It's maybe too early. The text hasn't gone out yet. Oh my gracious goodness. All right. So it is 10:54 a.m. in South Africa. Okay. All right. So we got SA in the house. The morning has already kicked off over there. Just Jay is saying melatonin works in 5 minutes for her. My. Okay. All right. So I'm still waiting for the text to go out. I'm not expecting many people to come over. As a matter of fact, I want this to be a nice, quiet little broadcast. And it looks like the notification on the text is taking a minute. So it's waiting on approval. Ugh. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get live on these other platforms so that we can just move things along, because when the text gets caught waiting for approval, we don't know whether it'll take 5 minutes, 25 minutes, or what. So we're just, let me refresh it. It's still waiting for approval. All right. So come on. We're going to go ahead and get live on these other platforms. We're probably not going to go live on LinkedIn today. So we are live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. And we are live on YouTube. Just on YouTube page. All right. So let's get the conversation started. I am your host, Tanya TKO. I'm a self-love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we typically use viral topics to display what self-love looks like or does not look like in relationships, as it relates to primarily Black women, because my audience is primarily Black women. The other day, I did a video entitled, "That's Why You Can't Keep a Vampire," as posited by men, right? On that video, there were some men who came out and they were very angry about the topic of the video. There were even some women and some young ladies who came out who were angry about the video as well. Mainly on the Facebook page. I don't know what it is about the toxicity that is created in the undercurrent of Facebook. I don't know what it is, but there seems to be a lot of people who are in crisis on Facebook, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and that all comes spewing out in the comments over there. I don't know how many of you have ever noticed you dare not disagree with a person on Facebook, because next thing you know, they'll be telling you not to come to their page. They'll be blocking you and all types of craziness. It's just really bizarre. It's like there's no room for anyone to have a difference of opinion. It's like Facebook is a page, is like an environment of different queendoms and kingdoms, where Facebook has allowed for people's content to be posted on other people's news feed. But if you dare comment anything other than accolade and applause for whatever, no matter how strange, toxic, or bizarre the OP's original messages, it doesn't matter what it is that you say, as long as you are not in 100% congruence with what they're saying, poof, it's an issue. Hey, Stefan, what's going on? I saw that you were in those comments too. So thank you for holding it down over there. Nonetheless, let's continue to go forward. Yesterday, no. What's today? Today's Saturday. Yes. So the day before yesterday, I put up a little meme, right? And it was from somebody who created a Kevin Samuels account, right? So here. You know, as a matter of fact, let me go to the Facebook page and show you all, because it turned into such a brouhaha. Okay, did the text go out yet? Text notification squad, you all know when you start coming in, throw up those 10 10s. So I know, okay, so it went out. So welcome in, text notification squad. Welcome in. And you know what? I barely even interact on Facebook anymore either. But let me go to this Facebook. Let me go to my Facebook page so that I can show you all, right? Facebook.com/Tanya TKO show. I'm going to show you some of the weird and bizarre, strange and disturbing messages, right? So here. So this is my Facebook page, as you see. Let me scroll down for you all, right? So this is, can I collapse this thing? Let me collapse. Okay, there it's collapsed. All right. So this is the post that I put up the other day, right? It says, "Man, it sure is hot down here," right? And that's all it said. I just put it the thing. You see, it looks like it's from a verified account. The internet has no chill, right? So then I put this up, and as you see, this has over 3,000 comments, right? And I want you to see what some of these comments are like. Let's put up the newest comments so that you can see, right? So that you can see what it is that your girl is having to deal with in these streets, right? Look at this person right here. I just want you to see. I just want you to see. I just want you to see. Here. Look. I hate this woman. Right? I hate this woman. Right? This is what somebody, this man has gone on his whole, he's all on his BS, right? He hates me. So he's like, I hate this woman. Right? And I'm like, hate only destroys the hater. The comments are there for all to see, right? So, listen. Listen, I thought it was a troll account, but when I went to his page, it was not a troll account. He had look, I'm going to continue going forward. You can read the replies there yourself. He was going on about how he needs to let me know how I've hurt him and all this that you need to know. And I'm despicable. You're a horrible human being. Or you going and right. You can see, right? You can see the comments are all there. He refuses to leave my page. He refuses to leave my page. He won't leave. I even posted another content creator who he posted whose content resonates with him. And remember what I was saying earlier about how Facebook, you cannot have a difference of opinion. He has posted other women who are calling Black women B's and H's and females, you know, the type of person. And he resonates with that, but he won't go support her content. He wants to stay on my page, right? No matter what I do, I can't get him to leave, right? It's like, if there's content that disturbs your spirit, please, by all means, go find the content that gives you wings, but they don't want to go there. It's like, and you know what? And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Let me just. I just want to. So let's see. So then there was this other person, right? There was this other person, and the comments are still, oh my gosh. Here, typical from someone who gotta wear mad makeup to still not even be average in the face, right? So now they want to attack me. So the reason why I started making this video is because, so listen, here. This is, so this is, so this is, so this is, so this is the person who posted that, right? He's, look. So the other day I was out, I posted an impromptu picture of myself because anybody who says that I have to wear mad make, what the some of these I haven't seen because the Facebook experience that you get from your phone is very different. Then somebody posted a picture of his girl, and his girl, her cheekbone structure, her complexion does not look much different than me. For him to talk about he feels that I'm so hideous and all this other stuff, right? And then I posted an image of I posted an image. No, somebody, this man, he he's he's 5'8", right? So he says, right? He's shorter than his mother. He has multiple baby mamas, right? Oh Lord, here. I posted this picture, right? You can go to Facebook and see. I don't want to click too much on people's stuff because, but this is a picture of his mother. He says his mother, his brother, his mother. He's the smallest one there, right? He's the smallest one there. He's shorter than his mother. You see, he has a hat on. Everyone is taller than him. He's 5'8". He's going through these issues in his life, right? Nonetheless, right? In the comments, these people, like these men are coming out there like, oh, you're a terrible person. All of Meanwhile, I'm not calling people names. I'm not calling anybody out of their name. I'm not saying anybody is average or don't deserve love or any of these things, right? I'm just here creating content for you all, right? Creating content for you all with lessons for Black women to love themselves. I want to know okay, people are saying that I'm just such a terrible person because of all the horrible things that I've said about Black men. I want to know, what are all these terrible, horrible things that I've said about Black men? I want to give people the floor and opportunity to cut and paste them below. What is it that I've said? Am I telling anybody to go out there and harm folks? No. Am I saying that what else? Am I saying that the Black men are lost cause? No. Am I saying what is it that I'm saying? I want to know. I want to know. Because I'm like, because somebody's like, oh, you and Kevin Samuels said horrible things about each gender. No, 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 no. Kevin Samuels tried to posit that, number one, a woman who didn't have a certain look, physically or facially, that she did not deserve a man to take care of her. She especially did not deserve for a man to assist with her children or the children that she had before him, right? Kevin Samuels stated things to make life more dangerous for women and children. He talked about domestic discipline, he called it. That if your woman doesn't listen to you, you put her over your lap and hit her, calling it domestic discipline. I've talked about this in prior videos. How do you get a grown woman over your lap? You're going to have to grab her and restrain her and force her down. He started making content about how men created this world for women and how women enjoy the labor and hard work of men. And this spurred to conversations about how men could take away those comforts and harm women, right? And harm women. Give me 1 second. It seems like I'm gonna have to start putting people in the block party, right? Let me get onto my. I need to switch and get into my admin privileges on my page. Okay? All right, there we go. Right? So he talked about women being like used cars, their vaginas. He objectified and attempted to create inanimate analogies of a woman's body in her womb. There seemed to be this animosity. There seemed to be this animosity towards women who have had children. But he talked about how you're supposed to be having intercourse. Don't go out after 5 p.m. if you don't want to have intercourse. Don't go out on a date if you don't want to have intercourse. You need to have intercourse by the third date. Having intercourse with people that you don't know leads to all types of precarious situations that leads to either the reality of having to abort that fetus or giving birth to the child of a man whom you don't really know, becoming a baby mama, and thus lowering your market value. So it's like you do not have the capacity in a Kevin Samuels world to date, because you should know before you even get to know a person whether or not you want to bust it wide and drop it low for that human while their representative is still out on a date with you. He made things more dangerous for children because before it was saw fit that he was snatched from this earth in the presence of a plus size prostitute, mind you. There were men on the internet that tried to pretend as if he was with some slim young thing, which he wasn't. He was with a plus size prostitute. I showed her image. The slim young thing that they tried to pose, she had a name which was similar. So they looked up and then they switched around the first name and the surname. But the pretty young thing was like, I don't know this man. The plus size prostitute was the one who posted the 911 phone call on her page and was like, see, I did everything I could. Now stop harassing me. Oh no, she was like, please. She was like, I did not kill that man. Stop harassing me. That's what she said on her Facebook page. That was the plus size prostitute, right? He was in the presence of a woman who did not know his door number. He kept talking about women dying alone. He kept talking about people being out of shape. There are people who have come to my Facebook page and have tried to say, oh, Tanya, Kevin was in better shape than you. No, 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 no. Tell me what my labs and blood work say. You don't know what a person's lab and blood work say, because while he was talking about people not being height and weight equivalent or something along those lines, while they proportionate, that's the word, while they were not height and weight proportionate, he was suffering from hypertension and heart disease. As he sat there on his childbearing hips, making life dangerous for women and children. And let's get into the little bit of that, right? So he posited that mothers should ignore their daughters who complain about sexual abuse at the hands of a stepfather who has come into the home. That the mother should be like, girl, that's your daddy, or some nonsense along those lines. I did a video on it. He tried to downplay abuse of women, saying that Black women are not really being abused. He's never seen it. And then the ones he's seen has been, the Black women actually deserving it because she was the one fighting him, right? These are the things that he said. These came out of his mouth. I did videos about these, right? I did videos about these, right? Let's continue going forward. What is it that I have said that is so terrible? I talk about the data. Facts don't care about your feelings. Samuel was talking about how he's never seen a Black woman in being domestically abused. That he's actually just seen Black women who were fighting men, right? And I guess thus getting handled, right? Meanwhile, every 6 hours, according to the FBI, a Black woman is killed by a man. Every 6 hours. And the vast majority of those are Black men. I show the data. I'm not making things up. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be quiet about these numbers? I just don't really understand. I'm curious about what are these so-called terrible things that I've said. I want to know. And Stefan is saying, why does it seem like women or the feminine get the shit end of the stick? Is masculinity praised more? We live in patriarchal societies that are built on the foundations of misogyny, in which women are oppressed. And it is and has become controversial for women to speak about the oppression in which they face in the same way that it's controversial for Black people to speak about the oppression in which they face. Where people posit that speaking about racism actually makes you racist. The people who have the controls and the powers over you do not want you to speak up about it. They want you to, one, sit there and take it gleefully, so that in your gleeful taking of the oppression, they can say, see, you're not oppressed. But then if you're angry about it, they're like, see, that's why you're oppressed. It's like, look at you and your anger, or look at you and your happiness. Either way, you can't win. That's called a double bind. So women are in a position of a double bind, where it's like either we continue to go along the way things have been going. And look, for all of the people who were talking about my face and how I don't have on makeup, right? This is another part of the double bind in which we speak about. On the one hand, men are like, don't wear makeup. Well, motherfucker, I'm wearing makeup because I want to cover up the dark circles under my eyes. Living in a world filled with stress or having to work where I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning working to be able to create a card game so that women can ask questions, women or men, but it's primarily geared, the targeted audience are women because women are the ones who choose. And we live in this society where men are constantly posited as these supposed leaders, especially when it comes to the Black community, where we start talking about how these men are leaders, but they'll be the first one to talk about how women are the ones who are raising these children by themselves. And I want to ask the question, and I want you all to ask these questions of anybody who says this online. How long, you can pause it and write this question out because I want you to type this word for word and then cut and paste. How long have you felt that a parent choosing not to show up does not contribute to how their child is raised? I want you to ask that question because at the end of the day, people want to not show up. Let me not say people, men want to not show up. Let me make that even further. Black men, they want to not show up and then not be held responsible for the ramifications of them not showing up so that they can point their fingers and say, well, look, you raised this child this way. The child was raised this way because you did not participate. I don't get to create a human being and not invest in the rearing of the human being in which I created. Please understand that it is the man's ejaculation during intercourse that fertilizes the egg. A woman is only fertile about 2 to 4 days each month. That's it. A woman can have sex for 30 days of the month, for 28 days of the month, and not get pregnant. Because it is not the female orgasm that releases an egg. It is the male orgasm that releases the building block of DNA to fertilize an egg. So it's like we are living in this society where we are placing the onus and the responsibility on women when it is the male ejaculation that is fertilizing. However, we live in this country, right? We live in this country where we have a devastating number of out of wedlock births created in our community. This is why I specifically talk about Black men, because I don't see the same outpouring of men from any other community. I don't see Asian men talking about, well, that's why the child was raised that you look how you raised that child. I don't see white men talking about, you woman, you raised that child, my child, fruit of my loins. It's like I constantly hear men complaining about how somebody else is doing something. If you can do a better job, then do it. It's like they don't want to take the responsibility. They want to just be able to blame somebody else. Oh, look, all these single mothers, abandoned mothers, abandoned by the person who helped create this human being. Yes, abandoned mothers. It's like, okay, if this woman is so terrible, why did you entrust your offspring into her care without taking the steps necessary, since you could do a better job, without taking the steps necessary to be able to get this innocent child out of her clutches if she's that terrible? That means that you are complicit. Because far too often, men do not participate in the custody process. Number one, they allow women to leave with their children. I had a friend, and this is how I knew that there are a lot of men who are out there who are bullshitting. I had a friend who had, he liked a certain type of gangster girl, right? He liked a certain type of gangster girl. And he got one of these gangster Timberland boot, weed smoking, black lipped, black and mild, not the greatest of weave looking woman. He got her pregnant, right? So much so that when the baby was born, the baby had THC in its system, right? And that woman said, look, I'm moving to Jersey with my baby. Jersey is one bridge over from New York. He said, no, 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 no. You will not leave with my baby. You will not take my child out of state. He said, this is my offspring and I will be there. I was like, he was like, my child needs someone to tuck them in each night. And I am taking a vested interest in the rearing of my child. He got an injunction to stay. He got a court order for her not to be able to leave the state without paternal consent. The issue is that there are far too many of these men out here who are giving consent to the women, either by them not being there, not showing up, not participating, or allowing them to go, and then acting as if they didn't have a hand in it. It is illegal for a woman to keep a child away from their father. Call the police and get a wellness check. Call the police enough times. Get the judge involved. But you see, they don't want to do that. They want to sit there and complain. And they want to talk about how you did XYZ to them. I want to know, what are these horrible things that I am saying which are untrue? What are these horrible things that I'm saying? I want to know. What are these things that I'm saying that are unfair and off point? Like, the facts don't care about your feelings. This is the data that is out there. So these men who have found their way onto my page to talk about how horrible and terrible I am for speaking out about the data. They find it so easy to combat women and children and people that they perceive as physically weaker than them. However, however, they don't have the energy to fight their oppressors. They're not on the Facebook pages of places like Stormfront, Daily Caller, or other places online where people are actively, men of other races are actively talking about taking them out, calling them Dindus and Tyrones and stuff like that. Actively talking about their worthlessness and their animalistic nature. But these same men who are on my page, who got the energy to talk about how I'm a terrible person and they hate me and all this other stuff, and how I'm average in the face and all of this, and I'm, yeah, okay. Oh, Lord, somebody is spamming. Um, well, listen, somebody just got blocked for posting links. Sorry. Don't post links on my page, please. It's not going. Don't post links. You've just been blocked, unfortunately. But it looks like you were talking about some pregnancy stuff. But it's I don't have the ability to unblock you. Humpty is saying, I have known plenty of men that should have gotten custody of their children, but just refused to do it. So my whole thing is, how is it that they are able to find their way over to a Black woman's page who is talking about the data? I don't think that I say anything that is unfair. I'll say this. The the And so Sharice is saying Tanya is gorgeous, y'all capping. Look, the thing is, look, I don't owe anyone my beauty. No woman owes the world her beauty so that people are angry at her, looking at her when they're like, well, why aren't you more beautiful? If there's something about my face which troubles anyone out there, you can fucking leave. It's very simple. You don't have to look at the video. It's very simple. If there's anybody who has an issue with me cursing and you feel that I should be more classy, you could fucking leave too. I'm not interested in being fucking classy. I'm not interested in being a goddamn lady. I'm not interested in that. I am here and I appreciate being able to have the full breadth and depth of the human language at my disposal so that when I feel like punctuating a point with profanity that I have the ability to do so. I don't have to put on concealer or eyeliner or even eyebrows. And then, like I said, the double bind. Because when I do, then people are like, oh, that's why you need so much makeup. And it's like, I don't even use that much makeup. I use very little, just a little bit of concealer to hide the lack of sleep. And I just draw on my eyebrows to frame my face. I don't owe you my beauty. I put on eyebrows when I fucking choose to. And if you have some sort of issue with the fact that I don't have on eyebrows, please come put them on me. It's like these weak, whack mother effers. Like Tyson said, the internet creates a world for people to say things or something without the threat of being able to get punched in the face, something along those lines. Like people say whatever it is that they want to say online. It's like, especially when it comes to black men, they're constantly talking about weave, hair, makeup, eyebrows, all of this other nonsensical things. Please go build something. Go build a legacy, please. Go fight your oppressors. Make this world safer for your children. Like, you can't even protect yourself. The biggest thing that people say that I say that has been terrible about black men is by saying that they're conquered. Please, where is the lie? Black men have been conquered worldwide. It doesn't bring me joy to say that. This is a terrible realization that as a collective, both on the motherland and here, black men have been conquered. And they're like, well, that means that black women are conquered too. The difference is that women are naturally submissive. Why are you so comfortable being submissive to another male group? It's like everything a woman do, you want to do too? That means that black women are conquered? Yeah, black women are conquered because our men cannot stand up to the male groups of the male group of the conquerors, the colonizers. They can't and have not, will not, and refuse to stand up. They're just going to still stay over there and put their hands up talking about don't shoot, can't breathe. It's like, come on, what are you going to do besides offering your neck up for a knee? Well, what else are you going to do besides continuing to make pain porn movies of us dying at the hands of your oppressors? Someone just had to get themselves blocked because they just trolling, just trolling. I refuse to even say their name, right? So, those are the questions. Those are the questions I want to know the answers to. What is it that I have said? Just Jay is saying they love to deduce the divine masculine and feminine to ridiculous raggedy boxes. Listen, Monique is saying truth has long been declared an enemy of this world. Please do not speaking it. Do not stop speaking it. The most refreshing thing about your content is the truth within it. Thank you. Brittany saying, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They hate BWs no matter what we do. Ladies, do what you want. Don't take their complaints seriously. These males are going to hate you either way. Patriarchy is also kicking black men's butt. And this is the thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that because they feel and face oppression, they are looking for the easiest target for which they feel that they can oppress. And they're going to who they feel is the physically weaker link, women and children. And when we start talking about the double bind, right? If you have children early, so first the fucking wall. Let's address the tiger in the room, right? They want to get with young, ignorant, naive girls. They start saying that a woman is hitting the wall at 23 nowadays, right? They want to get you at 18, right? Your white matter hasn't even evaporated, or the gray matter of your brain. I forget which way it is. Is it the white matter that evaporates or the gray matter? You have to let me know, right? As the mind becomes more mature, does it have more white matter or more gray matter? I think it's white matter, but I need a refresher on that myself. Nonetheless, their brain isn't even fully developed. So on the one hand, they're like, yeah, I want to get with these young girls, right? Their mind is not fully developed. They don't know what to look for in a partner. And they make mistakes. They end up trusting, and they end up in situations that sometimes result in pregnancies, right? Mind you, that 40% of teenage pregnancies are created by grown men between the ages of 20 and 30. 40%. So men on average like to pursue women who are 10 years younger than them. So we're talking about an 18-year-old girl with a man who is nearly 30, whose brain is already developed, who has been out there in the world and who's lived. She goes and she doesn't know what she's doing or what to look for in a man, but they blame her, saying that she should have chosen better. According to what? She's 18. She was in high school. What does she know to choose? She's just getting out there in the world, just learning how to date. And you're already feasting upon her and her ignorance. And that's part of what drew you to her in the first place. Then they tell you should have chosen better. You shouldn't have. Well, it takes trial and error. It's like the double bind. They don't want you to live, but they want you to be able to make the choices of a person who has experience and who has lived. It's like it takes living in this life and making mistakes in order to know what it is that you need to do. So then you end up having a baby, and then now they discount and discredit you, and you have been lowered in worth because now you're a used car and all of this other stuff, because now you've created another human being. Then if you don't become a baby mama and then you're a certain age, then they're like, oh, you're going to die alone because now you have no one. So which one is it? Should you have had children early, or should you have waited late until you had the maturity and the ability to choose and know what to choose from and exercise your choice? So now they're blaming you for the quality of men that are available, because if you get a bum too young, it's your fault. If you see that there's bums and you choose not to date them and choose not to get bred by them, because let's face it, a lot of these people, they just want to breed you. They want to be like, I came, I saw, I conquered, and now you have my child in this world. You have a piece of my DNA spread out here forever. So then on the one hand, you're too young to really know what to look for, and it's your fault for not choosing better. Then if you exercise your right to choose better and not date bums, then you're going to die alone with a cat because you don't have children and now you're older. So which one is it? This is the double bind that I'm telling you all that women are in. Then if you listen, and then if you, like Oprah, decide that because of the harm that you faced, mainly at the hands of Black men in her youth. I mean, we know the Oprah story, right? If you choose not to create life, if creating life is just not something you want to do, then they say that you're not a success. You're not a true success if you've not had children. She didn't want to have children. She had a hard enough childhood herself, so that the billions that she's made is, and the lives that she's changed, the way that she has changed talk show and entertainment and the fabric of this world. Oprah changed this nation. None of that matters if she didn't get bread. So people were like, why didn't she let Stedman breed her? She didn't want to have children. But then if she did have children and was a terrible mother, then you criticize her for that. This is the double bind that I'm talking about. If a woman knows whatever is inside of her, whatever's lurking inside of her that would make her a terrible mother, and she knows that she does not want to be bothered with children, so she does the thing that she needs to do to not have children, then all of a sudden that's a problem as well. It's like women do not in our society have the autonomy to truly make freestanding choices that are best for them. Whether that is choosing to have a child early, choosing to not have that child, choosing to have a child late, or choosing not to have children at all. It's like we do not afford women the autonomy to be able to be like, this is what I want. We want to tell women that they should not be able to get what it is that they want. And this is part of the reason that women are abandoning relationships altogether. And men are out here in these streets with their balls defibrillating, standing on the side, quivering in their pants, not knowing what it is that they're going to do with their lives. And Aoife is saying the issue is that marriage and children are no longer a badge of honor. Men can thank themselves for that. Martina is saying cats are lovely. You really should get one. You won't regret it. And you know what? There are men who are going around in the comment sections who are like, go get you a dog, go get you a cat. For many women, that's a better alternative. And men can ask themselves why. Why would a woman, now if you think about it, right? If you think about it, women love relationships. They love to be coupled up. They love to talk about how they got a man. Yet most relationships are ended by women. The men want to stay in the relationships. Why? Why? And then when it gets to the point that women are saying, I would rather have a cat than you. And cats are not wonderful. Cats are horrible creatures that will turn their anus up at you in a heartbeat. They're cats. You know what? Cats are for the people who have a lot of love to give. Dogs are for the people who need to receive a lot of love. So depending on what it is that you have, right? Whether you got a lot of love to give or you need to receive a lot of love depends on whether you're going to get a cat or a dog, you know? So there are women who are like, they just rather have an emotional support pet. You have to ask yourself, what is it that has gone so wrong in the dating between men and women that she would rather have a pet, that she would rather have a creature who she has to feed and clean up the feces after, that she would rather have that. She would rather have this litter box situation festering in the bathroom, or these doggy bag situations going out and scooping up hot feces straight from an animal's anus. That she would rather put her hand in a thin plastic bag and scoop up hot feces straight from an animal's anus than be with you. I mean, that's what that's what the matter of it is. That's what we're talking about, right? And Anasa got two of them, so she's doing it with both hands. She's just out there like hot feces. Bethany is saying cats give genuine love. I haven't seen that. I don't know. I don't know. I think cats are very standoffish. I have not seen cats giving love, but listen, I have only seen cats like, what are you going to do for me? Worship me. I haven't seen cats. Every once in a while, if they want a cuddle, they'll come and rub on your leg. But other than that, you have a very standoffish diva in your house. You know? Listen, I don't want to get into a cat versus dog argument. We everybody prefers what they prefer. Some people like birds, but then you still got to I'm saying every animal pet that you have, you still have to clean up this species, whether it's a rabbit, a bird, a snake, all of these, you have to clean up their feces. Sharice is talking about I have kittens. Girl, those things do not stay kittens for long. They get big and they turn into cats. Aoife is saying many of us women are just tired and prefer peace, be able to rest, smile, and put herself first. And you know what? Let's talk about that real quick. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. For far too many women, it's just more peaceful to be with yourself. That there's some people who will come into your life bringing havoc, stress, additional duties, additional parental duties on a grown person that is just easier to be without. Assaults on your self-esteem, issues in terms of having now another mouth to feed and a person who needs you to cater to them when they need you, but when you need somebody, where is your emotional support? That's why it's just easier for some women to just get a cat. Like, there are some great men out there. There are some great men out there. And so God bless the people who have been able to find good unions. There is no person, there is no person who has found a good union that is out there mocking people for not having found that. Because a person who has found a good union knows just how rare and difficult that is. So they don't, I can't say no person, but by and large, I'm just speaking in absolutes right now, right? But people who are in healthy relationships don't mock others not having found a healthy relationship. A person who is in a healthy, loving, functional relationship knows that, first of all, being in a functional, healthy relationship takes work. When you are in a long term, committed, monogamous relationship, love only carries you but so far. The rest of it is choice. Choosing to show up each day over and over, choosing that person over and over, and doing the things necessary in terms of maintenance, emotional, physical, sexual, psychological maintenance in that relationship to keep the union good. Because no matter how good the union starts out as, relationships deteriorate if they are not fed. Please hear me. There's no one that is in a healthy relationship, a healthy, functional, long term relationship that does not understand the work that is required to keep it that way. You have to really get to know another person, and you have got to really let yourself be able to be known. You have to fix your communication and work on that communication and work on navigating through this life with a person with different DNA, different upbringing, different background, who was attracted into your life as a complement, where their issues in a relationship and as a man or a woman is a complement to your traumas, so that you meet a person and their particular vibration, energy, experiences in this world will trigger you. Is there any person here who has been in a long-term relationship, a long-term committed monogamous relationship, who has not been triggered by their mate? That there is something about that union that triggers some deep-seated stuff on the inside of you that needs to be healed. If you have never, if you are in a long-term relationship and your mate has never triggered you, put up a 0. If your mate has triggered you, put up a 1. This is just the nature of relationship. This is the nature of the universe and the law of attraction. It's just the nature of it. Somebody says, Stefan, I'm sorry to hear that. So let me scroll up and see what my sweetie is dealing with. If only my mouse would cooperate. I think my thing is dead. Oh, I think I had to press the mouse button. Let me see. I don't see what a Stefan wrote, and it's not letting me see all the comments. Guac is saying, I have found Black men to be the least empathetic type of person, very cruel and harsh for no reason. I don't know. I haven't done a survey. Stefan, I don't see what happened. I missed it. She's saying that that has been her experience, so I guess she's gone, you know, and did her survey or whatever. Somebody's saying parents don't talk about the reality of having children. Let's see this survey. Okay. Let's see if there's anybody here who has put up a 0 that their mate has not triggered them. Kimberly is saying her mate has never triggered her. Wait long enough, dear. Wait long enough. Anas is saying, I'm sure I trigger them as well. Girl, listen. Listen. Mika puts up a 0. Listen. Hey, if that is the story that you're going with, I don't even see Mika is saying I don't deal with people that do that. I'm not talking about a person who is intentionally triggering you. I'm not talking about a person trying to poke the bear. So let me just be clear about that. What I'm talking about that there's something about this person's personality, the way that they show up, the way that they do things that just triggers you. That there's something about it that taps into the foundation of preconceived notions that you've had, an area of growth that you need to experience. I'm not talking about a person who is trying to poke at you. That's not what I'm talking about at all. We are all going to be triggered. Look, even our girlfriends can trigger us, because it's the way that we interpret the world in which we live. You know what I'm saying? Crystal, hey, Crystal. What time is it out there where you're at? I think you're in the is it the Netherlands or Sweden? I'm not sure, but what time is it there? She's saying that she has found men of many different backgrounds to lack empathy. And that is something that I have heard quite a bit, right? That's something that I've heard quite a bit, that far too many men just are lacking in basic human empathy. I'm sorry. Let me check my captions. Okay, the captions are good. All right. Mika says married for 5 years but divested together for 10. I hear you. And so you can't tell me that you're in an interracial relationship and you've never been triggered. Girl, if you don't listen to what it is that I'm saying, come on now. I mean, you could posit this narrative if you choose to, but you cannot tell me that you're dating a person of a completely whole different background in this society and you have never, especially since we are bred and steeped in racism, And white people are indoctrinated into it so much so that they don't even realize that they hold racist ideals. And you're going to tell me that you've never been triggered? I can't right now. But if that's the story that you want to go with, not everybody is as aware as other people. So I will let you have whatever thoughts it is that you're having about, you just go right on ahead. Do you, boo? Do you? Wait a minute. I'm missing everything. Somebody is saying, a Stefan, that's horrible. That's not love. Let me scroll up and see if I can find what he's talking about. I'm not seeing the. Oh my goodness. Why are you? Says, I grew up with four boys, and my husband used to eat my stuff just like when I was a kid. Even if I didn't want it, I would lose it. You know something? Oh my God. Please don't tell me. Oh my goodness. You see? See, and this is what I'm talking about, like stuff like little things like that that trigger people because she was raised with four brothers. Girl, I understand what you're saying. I understand. I grew up with brothers as well, so I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, it was, you have to fight to eat. You can't leave anything around. No, you can't even label it. You have to hide it. And no, I hear you. I hear you, especially when they're growing and their appetites are out of control. I'm missing all of a Stefan's messages. I'm scrolling up. Oh, a Stefan says, my daddy fed pills to my mom and called it love. Oh, yeah. No. And then a Stefan is the product of an interracial union as well. So, and I have found that from the relationships and interactions that I've had with white women, that white women seem to have just a different internal constitution that renders, I don't know if it's society or whatnot, but I have found that their their relationship with putting their foot down is much different than that of black women. That is what I have found. And I have found that from that there's a lot of pill use in situations involving white women whose voices have been stripped and they're not being heard. And I say this not because I find enjoyment in that. I have just found that to be my experience, that life is difficult, or life seems very difficult for white women, and it seems like the ability to cope, but I'm not an expert on that. I only have very limited experience, but that pill situation just doesn't sound, it does not sound far-fetched to me. You know, I don't know if it has something to do with white men or genetics or society and I don't know. I don't know. I've just found that to be my experience, and I don't want to be insensitive when speaking about it, because that is, I feel that mental health needs to be addressed, and there's no shame in doing the things that you need to do to take your life back and take control of your life. And so if pharmacology is what you need, I support that. I have just found that there just seems to be some sort of correlation, and I don't know what it is. I would love for some sort of large base study to be done about that. Misa is saying they don't have to deal with stuff. Zara is saying it's white coat. I don't know, and I don't want to get off on that. So I'm only speaking about my own. I don't really know, and so I don't know. I don't know what it's so strange, right? It's so strange. I was thinking about this months ago in relation to Nigeria, right? And in Nigeria, where the roads are not even developed throughout the country, where there's still open sewers in the richest areas of Lagos, right? That out of a place like Nigeria has been born a beautiful culture shifting mode of music, and that we are constantly producing just these dynamic creative artists from some of the most trying conditions, right? And yet, in a country like America, in the land of plenty and abundance, the people who are on the top of the food chain, the women who are exalted as the standard of beauty and who have, opportunities afforded to them just by the mere presence of their skin, that there seems to be a difficulty with coping with life. And I find it really interesting that out of such tremendous hardships, that Black people have created a tremendous amount of beauty, creativity, and just joy in this world. And then on the flip side, I don't know what it is, and I'm sure there's something out there. I'm sure there's something out there. I'm sure there's something out there that can help explain. I don't get it. 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 Press play is saying that they're currently triggered right now. Are you talking about by your mate or by this conversation? Stefan is saying my mom would use the N word a lot and she thought it was cool. I found it trashy. Miss Menu is saying, big up to you if you don't have triggers in your relationship. I don't believe no one has no triggers in their relationship. This is a person they need to check within themselves. They need to check within themselves and see whether or not they've become numb. All right. So nonetheless, let me see how long I've been on here. It looks like I've been on for over an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of here. I have reading that I need to do, and I am currently working on those questions in the game because I'm working on having this game available for us to be able to buy for Christmas. And so Monique is saying, Tanya, white women have a history of having no rights. Their husbands could beat and even kill them without consequences. They were the quote unquote slaves before actual slavery. They learned how to survive. They learned to be docile and compliant and didn't learn to put our foot down. Monique is a white person. I always thought the name Monique was a black name, but it is French, so who knows? All right, and didn't learn how to if if we wait our own survival. Okay, they learned how to survive. They learned to be docile and compliant for their own survival. Black women required a different skill set for our survival. Now she's saying our okay, sorry, I must have mixed it up. If we were docile and compliant and didn't learn to put our foot down, our entire families would be dead. White women are inherently different from black women. Our survival skills are different because our history is different. Hmm. Interesting, 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 interesting. Okay, well, you know what? Miss is saying triggers have intensity, so maybe their triggers aren't so detrimental. I mean, everybody's going to be triggered, but the word trigger means different things to different people. Some people, like, there are people who feel that, triggers, that there's a hostility and an abuse in the word trigger. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about irk or irritate. So I mean, when I say trigger, I mean irritate you to your core. That's what I'm talking about. Irritating you to your core. And Mika is saying he's my best friend and knows what I don't like, so he doesn't do it. I don't see what's so unbelievable about that. What's unbelievable about that, Mika, and I'm going to be really honest with you. I already stated earlier about the racial differences, right? It is impossible for any person who does not know you to automatically come in the door and know everything that you like and don't like. There's a trial and error period that exists in any relationship where a person has to learn what you like. And if you're claiming that your husband came out the womb and you met him and he knew exactly what you liked and there was no learning curve and he didn't have to learn your ups and downs, I said, fine. If that is how you feel that it has gone, please, by all means. If that's what you feel, then go with that. Go with that. In normal relationships, people don't bank on, in a healthy relationship, people realize that it takes getting to know a person and they have to have the vulnerability to be able to listen to criticism and make changes based on that criticism. For you to say that your husband does not do something, that means that he is cognizant and aware that this bothers you. I find it impossible to be in a relationship with a person, especially a person of a different race, and there have never been any conversations about anything about how to do things differently. Come on. Oh, God. I just don't see how it is. I don't see how it's controversial to have to get to know your mate. God, I would really love to move on from that. I just don't see that that's controversial. It's like, this is a given. This is a given. Every single person has to, especially if you're going to be with a person long term. We come out the gate just not knowing each other. Oh, Stefan is saying, even my best friend have disagreements. Oh. Knowing, and then she comes back to said, I said we were friends first prior to dating. Even friends, come on. I said never have triggered you. Come on. You know what? I don't want to be like this. Mika, you're lying. Either you're lying or you're in denial. It is impossible for you to have gotten married to your husband and for him to know all of your likes and dislikes without having had conflict over them. You're lying, or you don't know yourself, or you're numb, or you're deadened to the world. I'm just going to say that out front because I don't want to be, I don't like passive aggressiveness and I don't like minced words. You're lying or you're in denial. I'm saying that right now to you. Come on, stop. Stop. Oh my God. Anyway, can we move on? There are a lot of women, there are a lot of people out there who are in just denial about the truth that exists in their relationships. Anasa's like woosah. I just find certain positings about people's relationships to be insufferable. And when women try to pretend as if their relationship is oh so pristine and has always been glistening, and they claim that they do not put the effort in to keep it that way, that it's just automatic. It's irritating to me. I just find it irritating. And you know what? Listen, that's me being triggered because I know that it's not healthy. And I know that it is not healthy to posit that to other people because that's not realistic. People who sit up there in the lap of each other's arms, hugging and kissing up in front of everybody and pretending as if there's no problems, those are the people getting choked the fuck up on the sides of the walls in their homes with plates flying near their damn heads at night. Come on. Listen, come on, God. It's like let's be real. If we could only be real with people coming behind us. about what it actually takes to be in a healthy relationship, because these fairy tales on Disney end at the I do. Once you cross over that threshold into I do, and let me tell you something, I don't care how long a person was friends first in a relationship, a friend and a romantic partner are different. There's a different level of intimacy and vulnerability that exists in a romantic relationship where this person is now entrusted with sex, with with navigating through this world in the vulnerable spaces that it takes to be intimate with another person. Karen says, Tanya, I love you. You say the things I'm afraid to. Listen, uh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Mary saying, thank you, Tanya. We are lacking in truth in the modern days. It is absolutely right. And anybody who claims that their relationship is the same after marriage as it was before marriage, anybody who claims that their relationship was the same during friendship as it was when sex was involved, they're lying. These are different types of relationships. And even though people try to be like marriage is just a piece of paper, it's not just a piece of paper. It's not just a piece of paper. You have got to learn a person financially, spiritually. You've got to learn what triggers them. You got to learn this person sexually. There's just so much. There's just so much. There's just so much. Here. I'm going to put this person in a timeout. I'm annoyed by her because she's in denial, and it's nobody believes you. Nobody believes you. And I'm actually quite concerned for you at this point. I'm concerned for you and the vast level of denial. We are here in this racist, sexist society navigating, and she thinks that just divesting is going to be enough, especially with all of the hidden harbored racism that white people possess that they don't even know that they possess, that they have to learn and unlearn their ways out of. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Anyway, Just Jay is saying triggers do not equal abuse. What the F is going on? Listen, you heard the statement, methinks thou dost protest too much. Mm-hmm. Like I'm saying, those be the same people with their eyes bulging out of their heads with saliva seeping down out their mouths as they're being choked the fuck up. Listen, this is, I'm telling you, let me tell you something. I life coached for many years, right? And I have seen firsthand the people who are posting stuff on the internet versus what exists behind the scenes. I have seen firsthand. I have seen firsthand. I have seen firsthand that the people the ones who are posting up all of these pictures and all of this stuff, they are trying to convince themselves and other people because the situation that they're in, their mate does not sleep in the same room as them. Their mate don't sleep in the same room as them. Their mate is not coming home after work. Their mate's phone is turned off. Their mate got secret accounts. They not get. Come on. Anyway, I will see you all in the next video. Listen, go out there and love one another. Most importantly, what? Love yourself. I'm glad that we were able to spend this time together. I do hope to be able to do a video soon. Stefan is saying, my sister, what happened to your sister? Hold on, let me scroll back up. Life is dark. I talked to my white coworker. She tells me she had to work racism out of her system. Listen, I feel you on that. And then you say, my sister, I don't know. I don't know where the second part. All right. Child, them passport bros think they have the keys to life. I'm glad you mentioned that because these quote unquote passport bros, Carmel is saying if she feels he has not caused triggers or challenged her, she has taken on the role of not having an opposite opinion or belief over her man's. She chooses to not ruffle his feathers, voice her opinion, or make waves in their homes. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So, yeah, these passport bros are going over to another man's patriarchy and they don't realize how, in the very act of going to his patriarchy, is his submission to this man's better way of running a country than he could, better way of rearing women than he could, and also attempting to take on the benefits of a patriarchy that another man, another group of men have created. So I let them do what it is that they want to do. They are submissive and conquered, and they don't realize it. And that's, please. The crazy part about it is once they go overseas, listen, I had this guy on my page talking about passport bros and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, he had a Ghanaian passport, and I was like, I was like, do you think you'll pull more women with a Ghanaian passport or with an American passport? And then, so if that's how you're doing it, right? Then is she really there for you or the citizenship? And then what happens once she gets that citizenship? It's like they don't really understand. If you think that the woman is really interested in you, and then why is it that you feel that you have to go bargaining citizenship to try to get a girl? You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you think that she's really interested in you, that she just wants to submit to your superior and unproven leadership abilities, go and say you got a passport to an African country. Go and say you have a passport to a developing nation and see whether or not her love and submission. Like, these people are so foolish. All these people got to do is bat their eyes and wear some faja or some waist cincher, and they think that they have been submitted to. Go ahead. All it takes is a cute smile, and that's all it takes for far too many of these ignorant men out here. And so, by all means, go and do your thing, Papa. Do it, do it. Go swinging your passport around and see if she really cares about you, and then see how long it takes for her to get her citizenship and how things change once she does. Listen, some of these people are getting fed Drano. They got Drano in their Kool-Aid, and their hair is falling out, their bellies are distended, their livers are toppling over on the inside. And then they look and then they don't understand why they're not feeling well, why their hair is falling out, their teeth are falling out, they're doubled over and they're in pain as their liver is exploding on the side from ingesting these toxic chemicals. And then she moves her cousin who is dancing salsa and bachata with her in the middle of the night, and you hear the springs squeaking as you're on the couch. And you're like, why are the springs squeaking? And it's just you and your cousin in that room. Come on now. That ain't her cousin, son. That ain't her. That ain't her cousin. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That ain't her cousin. Or her brother. She got a brother she done brought over, from her country. And you're like, oh yeah, you and your brother go get to know each other better. It's been so long since you and your brother seen each other. Okay, go right on ahead. She's spending the night at her brother's place. Mm-hmm. Her brother has come in. She has helped him with your money, get him set up, and help him get his citizenship. Right? You go right on ahead. And she's helping him move in and not coming back in the nights. And you keep thinking that's her brother or her cousin. Listen, we've all seen, well, I don't know if we've all seen it, but to listen to what it is that I'm saying. If you think I'm lying, I'm crying. Go ahead. Go ahead. Because if you have to try to coerce a person into being with you with the hopes of you, it's like there's the power imbalance that exists. Listen, listen, you go ahead. You go ahead. Yes, and you know they got the foaming Drano too. So you over there, you got your cafe out lot. You over there with your cappuccino with some foam on top. I beg you, son, smell that foam. You better go smell that foam because listen, you listen. You go right on ahead. You going right on ahead because your brother, listen, because she's gonna bring over her brother and her brother's child, and then you see her and her brother's child got an interesting relationship where the child is calling her mommy. Listen, you be like, and they be oh we just real close. That's why my brother's child is calling me mommy. Uh-huh. And the child is just as old as your relationship. You've been with her in this country for 10 years. Her child is 10 years old. And now her brother and the 10-year-old done come over now that she got her citizenship. And now she filing for the brother and his child who's calling her mommy. All right. You go right on a damn head with your passport, please. Please. Let me get out of here. I done said too much now. I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to say nothing. I will see you all in the next video. Tanya TKO, and I'm out. I'm really getting out of here this time because I need to go back to reading. Listen, exactly. She calling one papi, calling the other mommy, and you, they calling negrito. They're like, mira que ese negrito. And then he like, ay, ay, ay. You go right on ahead. They like, mira. They like, mommy, mommy. And she's like, yes, mira. Go to ese negrito and get some money from this negrito and let's go shopping. You go right on ahead. You just go right on ahead. You go right on ahead. You go right on ahead. You go right on ahead because you think you got the upper hand, but sir, the final joke is on you. Because I know about the treacherous heart of some women who never cared. I know. Listen, you go right on ahead. Go right on ahead bargaining your citizenship because once they get that citizenship, they applying for everybody. Your whole house is gonna be full, and then the next thing you know, look, while you still paying, they still playing. That's what I'm saying. Somebody talking about Tyler Perry script. You keep on. If you think this is a joker, if you think this is a joke, you go right on ahead. You think I'm joking? Ain't no jokes here. Ain't no jokes here. I'm telling the goodness, honest truth. The moment that citizenship comes in, family members from all over coming in to stay with you on your dime. And then the next thing you know, you're outnumbered. And then the next thing you know, oh, the whole family, they need the bed and all this, that, and the other. And you on the couch, you in the basement. And the family's up in your bed. Her brother, mommy, papi, and her. Come on. You listen, you know what I'm talking about. The baby and her brother and her are in your bed while you in the basement sipping on foam that smell like Drano. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Listen, 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 listen. I'm out of here. You all got me. You got listen. You got me saying things that I should not be saying this early in the morning. I should not be saying these things because people are gonna be like, I'm insensitive. I'm culturally insensitive. I am only speaking on things that I have seen, except for the foam part. I haven't seen that because they do that in silence. You listen, you opening up different cabinets and there's all types of herbs in, you know, those plastic bags that you get from the grocery store. There's all types of unknown herbs tied up in these plastic bags in your cabinets and on top of the refrigerators. And when it's time for them to cook, they be like, oh, let me get my sazones. And they go up and they opening up these bags and they looking back over their shoulder and they sprinkling some of this inside your food. And then the next thing you know, your penis not working, your ears and your teeth are falling out. Your wrists are you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing else. You telling me to stop that, but you go you go right on ahead. You go right on ahead. You over there sleeping and you reach your hand under your pillow and you feel some chicken bone in a silk bag and you open it up and there's some writing in another language on there and listen, you go right ahead. You go start messing around. You go you go right on ahead. You go right on ahead. You go right on ahead. Cause listen, listen, you do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. But when you hear those plastic bags rustling in the cabinet, I beg you, go in the kitchen and see what's going on. And then listen, they got apps nowadays. You could take pictures of these leaves. Because take pictures of these leaves. They got apps that'll tell you where these leaves have come from. You playing these games, go right on that damn head because you think, because just like I was saying, that guy from Ghana on my page, right? Who was talking about, you think I'm joking? Do you think what I'm saying is not true? I'll show you the comment right here. I'll show you the comment because I had to ask this guy. I was like, okay, well, here. This is my Facebook page. Let's see if I could get. All right, let's see. This is, oh yeah, penis enlargement surgeries are now more popular than BBLs. So rather than working on their internal issues, they just going out there trying to make themselves larger. So here, let's go to the comments, right? Let's go to most recent. Let's see, right? Oh yeah, Jamie Foxx says he's not the marrying type. He's not gonna settle down until he's in a wheelchair and needs someone to push him around. So that's how he wants to do it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. View more comments. Let's see, because let's see where the person is. Here it is, right here. This is the person. He's Ghanaian, right? And he's talking about, look, Tanya, your logic is disingenuous. You and 99% of women are trying to chase the less than 1% of black men who you and the 99% classify as physically attractive at first sight. 6 foot tall, blah, 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 blah. Then who use you up and dump you. And they say all men are vampires. Stop deceiving people and get married so I can come to your wedding and baby shower. Clock is ticking. He went on to talk about, oh, you know what? I made him delete his comment because he was talking about passport bros, right? You can see the whole conversation there, right? And then we talked about about whether or not they wanted his Ghanaian passport, right? Because he told me, right? He told me that black women drove him into the arms of a white woman, right? Because the black women didn't want him. And I even got him, listen, you ask enough questions plainly enough and they trip themselves up and answer. So he told me, he told me that if black women would have liked him and accepted him, that he would have been with a black woman, right? But then I said to him, I said, but wait, you're Ghanaian. Why didn't you marry a Ghana babe? I'm like, why didn't you go? Let me do a control find for the word BABE because that's what I was saying. I was like, oh, here. Do you see? I'm like, because I was asking him, I was like, you act like black women in America did you wrong, but you didn't go home and marry a Ghanaian. You ran to the arms of a white man's daughter. Why didn't you marry a Ghana babe? You mean your own country women don't want you either, but you won't consider the problem may have been you? Oh, I misspelled may. Let me edit this. I know it's too late, but I need to just edit that. Sorry. All right. May have been you. That's the thing. They don't want to look internally to see what the issue is inside. So he's over here mad at Black American women, but there's so many Ghanaian women here. There's so many Ghanaian women in Ghana, but he didn't go back home. He's trying to pretend as if Black women made him marry a white woman, but he wasn't even suitable to the women of his own country who share similar facial features. So it's like you can't say that the women who share similar features to you think that you're unattractive. What is it about you that is turning women off, but they don't want to look and see what they may need to be able to do differently, right? They don't want to look and see what they need to do differently. Anyway, on that note, I'm really getting out of here. I'm really getting out of here this time. I'm really getting out of here. I woke you up early on a Saturday morning. I'm going to wait for the comments to come in. What are all these terrible things that I have said? What are they? Because if I don't tell people to do anything or not do anything. I just tell people to love themselves. Look at what is out there and do what is best for you, loving yourself. Why is that so threatening to people? And Stefan is trying to ask me questions as I'm getting out, talking about what do you think about white women who say they love the culture? Does this sound sincere? Of course, who wouldn't love the culture? I love the culture too. The culture is magnetic. You know, come on. I don't know. Everybody has to figure out on an individual basis who is really truly being sincere and who is not. Because I mean, oh, you know what? I don't have any more Caucasian friends that are close to me. I had some in the past, but I'm going to be quite honest with you. These changes that we have been going through over the past, I'd say 5 years, ever since I was displaced, and then the journey that we've been on since all of this. And then, I have found that I've actually had to distance myself after having conversations about the protests and stuff like that. I've had to distance myself. Now, I do still know some Caucasian people as acquaintances, but I no longer have any Caucasian friends. I realized um deep down that they weren't really friendships and that there were, like I said, a lot of mental health issues and all different types of things going on. And then you know how you have some friends who they don't mind if you're doing well, just not better than them. I have found that there's a prevailing attitude among certain people who lack melanin, who are okay with melanated people doing well as long as they're not doing better than them. And then that's when they got to be like, "Oh, I got to put you in your place. I got to put you in your place." You know what I'm saying? And I just found that the connections just weren't I just found that the connections just weren't as deep. And then I have actually had conversations with people who are biracial, like a Stefan. I haven't had this conversation with him, but biracial like him, black mother, sorry, black father, white mother. And when they tell me behind the scenes, like even their interactions with white people, that the connections just don't really seem they're not very soulful and not very, there's just not a lot of meat to it. Like it's just very placid. I don't know how to describe it. I just, but you get to weed a lot of people out when you start talking about race, because you will find that there will be a lot of people who will be in your inner circle who will benefit from the relationship that they have with you while still not wanting to see you as a human being or make changes to themselves that would have them be more empathetic. So I refuse to be your black friend. I refuse for you to be like, well, one of my best friends is black, so that is a cosign for my behavior. I refuse to participate in those type of relationships. And I found that one by one, those relationships just really withered away. And I just refuse to be complicit. Like, if you are not willing to have real, honest, in-depth conversations with me about race and educate yourself and figure out how you can stop your own microaggressions and how you can be a better ally. If you don't want to read the book White Fragility, and things that can help you be able to check yourself, I can't deal with it. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. And slowly, one by one, and then also in one of the, because like I ended up losing a person that I thought was very close to me when she decided to talk about how Black people need to stop complaining because racism is over. I was so stunned. And when I tried to have a conversation with her behind the scenes, she was like, "Look, I don't see race. You're my friend," and all this, that, and the other. And I was like, "You can't really see me as your friend if you don't see race and you don't see that we are in a society and in a world that is heavily influenced and affected by race, and that people of my race are being subjugated and oppressed in certain ways." And she was like, she refused to hear it. And I was so hurt. But, and then the last one that I had, um, and I sometimes feel like maybe I should reach out to her because who knows what she's going through, right? But I haven't heard from her all pandemic. I understand, we're all going through our own thing, but it's like, okay, a friendship cannot be just one person who you think is strong. Like, I'm not going to be the big, strong Black woman who is always covering you in my magic and loving aura. But when I'm going through something, you're nowhere to be fucking found because you're so fucking fragile that you can't show up for the relationship. Then I'm like, okay, it cannot just be me. You become a succubus at that point. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. And so there's nobody that can say that I'm the one of my closest friends. If you saying that, we somebody who met in passing during the travels and we speak every once in a while, and you can't put that on me. You can't put that on me. Nanya is saying I only have white coworkers, nothing more needed. I think it is important to have a wide array of friends from different backgrounds, and I am open. That's the thing. I open myself. Oh, you know what? I do have an associate whom I've become closer to, she's older and she's white. Like, when I say older, she's in her 70s. And even with her, I had to have a conversation with her about not comparing me to other Black people, because she'd be like, "Oh, I met a girl just like you," and then she would like send me a picture of just some random Black woman, and I'd be like, "What is it about her that makes you feel that she's just like me, besides just being a Black woman?" And I told her how I didn't like that, and she stopped doing it. And so she and I have become closer, but nobody can say one of my closest friends is Black to me. And I open myself up to these relationships, but I find that there's not really much follow through on the engagement and the interactions. My phone is not ringing and I'm not getting these texts. I'm not receiving the relationship building from any of these white women. It's like it's very surface. It's very, if I reach out to you every once in a while, it's fine. We could yuck it up or talk about business or what you're doing or whatever. But if I'm crying and I need a shoulder to cry on, this is what I'm saying. There's just something really warm about women of color. Like, those are the women that really hold me down. Like, I don't find that cohesion. And I didn't know that there was a difference between women until I lived in Japan. And I had this white girl who I thought was my friend, but the relationship never really progressed. And when I asked people who have white friends, like even white people, and they just say that that's just how it is. Like, even in their families, right? Like, you go to a white person's Thanksgiving and there's no music, there's no dancing, there's no laughter, there's no drunk uncle making a fool of himself, unless you in the sticks and you dealing with rednecks, and then you get a little bit more of that hometown feel. I don't know why it is, but other than that, it's just very surface, like what you see on TV. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting. There's no playing spades after Thanksgiving. There's no turning up the music and dancing while other people are watching the games and the kids are playing and running around. It's very. All right, so we have finished eating. Here is the pie. Oh, we're going to sit down, or this, that, and the other. There was just none. There was, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. That's just been my. Sharice is saying, my best friend is a white Puerto Rican who is very ghetto. I think when, I think there's a difference between, having European DNA and being white. I think whiteness comes with a certain something. So yeah, so this person right here is going to get put in timeout. And then because I don't appreciate these silly comments, right? I don't know. So no, so first of all, a person who is Puerto Rican, they were raised either on the island or in a culture that is heavily affected by Taino and African roots. That is a different type of person than a person who is just straight white. They may look white. They may have they may be phenotypically white, but they are not culturally white. So that's what, and I don't want this to turn into an attack session. I don't want people to attack people. I am only giving my observation. I don't want us calling people fake and bland because it's just culturally different. It's just culturally different. It's just culturally different, right? It's just culturally different. And so also saying that a person is white and ghetto, I don't feel that ghetto is synonymous with black. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you all are making me stick my foot in my mouth very early in the morning, but everything that I say, I feel wholeheartedly, and that's just what it is that I've observed. When I see something different, I guess I'll have a different observation. And Gail is saying, okay, but does everything have to turn up? Does everything have to be a party? Well, Guac girl, there are white Puerto Ricans, just like there are native people who are Hispanic. Look, white is a race. Hispanic is the ethnicity or the culture. So or Hispanic just really means Spanish speaking. But yeah, there are white Puerto Ricans. There are black Puerto Ricans. There are mixed Puerto Ricans. There's Puerto Ricans with every shade under the sun, but I'm talking about culturally white. That's what I'm talking about. So forgive me if that was not stated. Oh, Stefan, I was about to start blocking. I saw the word jigaboo and I was like, oh, let me catch this person before they start trolling. Then I saw it was you. I was like, oh my goodness. Listen, I forgot what I was gonna say. Does everything have to be a turn up? Well, listen. And therein lie the disconnect. Because if you feel that a once a year gathering of people coming together to give thanks is not a turn up, then that just shows a difference of perspective. You goddamn right it needs to be a turn up. You celebrating life. You giving thanks, turn up. Go get that phonograph out, dust off your records and turn up. Go do the electric slide in the other room. Let the kids get to know their cousins. This is what I'm saying. Like in our culture, cousins are like siblings, distant siblings, not even distant siblings. Cousins are like second siblings, in the culture. You know what I mean? So yes, of course, there needs to be a turn up. There needs to be celebration. There needs to be revelry. Yes, of course. That isn't even a question. Of course. Of course. Go turn on your music. Go get the alcohol out. Go let the kids go play in another room and just dance and have a good time. Laugh, get down low. All of that. Yes, of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Anyway, I'm out of here for real this time because now it's been almost 2 hours. I Robert is saying you should turn up every holiday. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. Life is so short, especially now after this pandemic. We have all been through so much. Yes, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up. All right, I'm gonna say I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm out of here now for real, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. I'm for real this time, for real.